If you came to this corner a few months ago, you would have seen hundreds of Occupy protesters. Today, you might be lucky if you saw one. Has the Occupy movement died, or are they simply just taking a break? The panel also discussed the upcoming summit, which will happen here at McCormick Place. The delegates will gather to discuss issues affecting NATO. The biggest this year is how to move forward with Afghanistan. While the increase in gas prices is concerning drivers, it is also becoming a hot topic for debate in the presidential election. Republicans are calling for an increase in domestic oil and gas production, and Newt Gingrich has even hinted that he can get gas down to $2 a gallon. But President Obama insists there is no silver bullet to the increasing cost. The story has sparked national attention. There have been marches and rallies across the country. Even in Chicago, some 1,000 miles away from where the incident occurred, events much like the one at this church tonight have brought people out crying for justice for Trayvon, including some students at DePaul. A few months ago, a bag of Skittles and a can of iced tea were just some items you bought at a store. Hoodies were something you wore when you were cold. Today, they're symbols of something much more. On February 26, Trayvon Martin was walking home from a 7-Eleven with an iced tea and some Skittles when he was spotted by neighborhood watchman George Zimmerman as he entered the gated community where his father lives in Sanford, Florida. Zimmerman called 911 to report a suspicious person. Moments later, Martin was shot dead by Zimmerman. Zimmerman says he shot Martin in self-defense, and police say they could not arrest Zimmerman because of Florida's Stand Your Ground law. The story has sparked national attention. There have been marches and rallies across the country. Even in Chicago, some 1,000 miles away from where the incident occurred, events much like the one at this church tonight have brought people out crying for justice for Trayvon, including some students at DePaul. Members of DePaul's Black Student Union, the BSU, attended a rally at Daley Plaza over spring break.
I think that it's important for us to not only stand up for inequality and injustice, but also just to participate and be active in our fight towards, social equality and stuff. Even as a DePaul Vincentian, it's really important. There's no way this man was acting in self-defense. He saw him, targeted him, and it was it.
Zimmerman's family and friends deny that he's racist and claim he acted in self-defense.
George was out of breath. He was barely conscious. His last thing he remembers doing was moving his head from the concrete to the grass so that if he was banged one more time, he wouldn't be, wearing diapers for the rest of his life and being spoon-fed by his brother.
What is clear is that the story has created discussion about race in America.
I hear all the time in classes and stuff, we're in a colorblind society and we have a black president, so there's no more racism, but this is a clear case of the fact that racism is here.
What happens next in the case that has America rallying for justice is up to the special prosecutor who's been hired to lead an investigation. It will be up to her to decide whether to charge Zimmerman. For Good Day DePaul, I'm Brittany Lewis. The NATO summit is a little over a month away, and the city of Chicago is gearing up. Universities have been shut down. Protesters are rallying the troops, and the city's First Lady has even gone to Brussels to give delegates a taste of Chicago. There's a lot of hype surrounding the summit, but what does it all really mean for Chicagoans?
We will probably not notice a whole lot except for one thing. There will be maybe 70 delegations in town, and they will need to go from their hotel to McCormick Place and back. So when we think about President Obama coming and visiting and having a motorcade that disrupts traffic for 10 or 15 minutes, think of it in terms of 70 motorcades.
J.D. Bindingal, the Vice President of Community Affairs for DePaul, was one of 4 panelists to speak at NATO in the 21st Century, an event discussing the history of NATO and where it stands today. The panel also discussed the upcoming summit, which will happen here at McCormick Place. The delegates will gather to discuss issues affecting NATO. The biggest this year is how to move forward with Afghanistan.
And face-to-face, they will then decide what it is they will have is in their statement. They will do this, and then they will break for dinner, and they will have informal conversations. That's the way issues are usually resolved.
Despite this peaceful resolution process, the summit is sure to see protesting, even with City Hall looking to tighten rules on protesters. For Good Day DePaul, I'm Brittany Lewis. DePaul hosts its first student-run dance marathon.
And a new change may be coming to the Lincoln Park campus. I'm John Dicko.
And I'm Brittany Lewis, and this is Good Day DePaul. As part of next month's NATO summit in Chicago, between 500 and 600 Illinois National Guard troops will be on duty. They'll move foreign officials around the city and provide support in case any problems arise. Protesters will definitely be here. The question is, will they remain peaceful?